I take it you can't see me, Jane, or Lynn. Is that correct?
We can see you. We're just waiting on the okay from Teresa. Okay, she just gave me the okay, so the meeting can proceed now.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Highland Beach Code Enforcement Board regular meeting on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Will everybody please silence any cell phones or other electronic devices they may have? Will the Deputy Town Clerk please call the roll?
Yes. Member Lienson is absent from the meeting today. Member Pearlman. Member Cherubini.
Perlow,
Member Perlow.
yes.
Member Slam. Vice Chairperson Resnick. Chairperson Burnage.
Present. I can't hear the board members that are on the dais.
I will let you know who they are. Town Attorney Rubin.
Present.
Code Enforcement Manco is here. So Chairperson Burnage, the members that are on the dais is Member Pearlman, Member Cherubini, Member Slam, Chairperson Resnick.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Resnick, thank you.
Chairperson Resnick, I apologize.
All right. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, I call the motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
I didn't hear the motion, first of all.
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
I make the motion. Member Resnick.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The agenda passes. Next item is the swearing in of the public. For those giving testimony, please raise your right hands. State and spell your full names individually and state the case you are affiliated with before being sworn in by the Deputy Town Clerk.
Okay, so you don't have to, because there's a large crowd here today, you will not have to state your names and affiliations until you actually give testimony. So you can overgo that, but I'm going to actually swear you in, so please continue to raise your hands. Okay, we're just 1 moment. Teresa has to actually bring the others that are being sworn in on Zoom, and as soon as they appear, then we will start the swearing in. So just bear with us 1 moment, please.
Getting the Zoom.
Okay, so for those on Zoom, can you please raise your right hands because we're just about to swear everyone in, please? And everyone in-house has their hands raised. So by the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or
We've lost the Deputy Town Clerk.
Yeah, it cut out. Isn't technology grand?
Yes, when it works.
I'm not sure what happened there.
In that kind of day, it started with my cable TV this morning.
Oh, man. Okay, seems like they're back.
You're back up now, Teresa.
All right, you're going to continue with the swearing in now?
Swearing in is completed.
I think two of the people on Zoom
We're
were
gonna
not
make it out.
completely, we lost your audio before you could complete their swearing in. So maybe you wish to swear them in yet.
Mr. Burnage, they've all been sworn in.
Okay, all right, I'll take your word for it. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the October 29, 2020 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes, please?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, minutes are approved. There's no unfinished business at this time, so we'll move to the first case, which is case 2020-26, Seagate of Highland Condo Incorporated at 3224 South Ocean Boulevard. The legal description, Seagate of Highland Condo Rec Area. I'm not going to read the property number. It says building permits required. The violation is work with expired permit. And I now ask, do any of the board members have any ex parte communications to this disclosure, to disclose rather?
No?
No.
There being none at this time, I now open the violation hearing. I turn the meeting over to the code enforcement officer, Jason Manco, for testimony and recommendations regarding the violation.
Chairperson Burnage, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're having some technical difficulties in reference to the internet. So I just want to get your approval just in case it happens again. Is it okay if the chairperson, vice chairperson proceed with the meeting?
Certainly.
Thank you. You can go ahead, Jason.
Does he have a copy of the, yeah, he does. Okay, thank
Has
you.
been provided with that.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance Officer, presenting case number 2020-26, 3224 South Ocean Boulevard, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. Before you, I have submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during inspection on March 16th, 2020 and December 7th, 2020. On March 16th, 2020, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. Work without permit, an expired permit in violation of Town 30-122A. On March 17th, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Seagate of Highland Condominiums Incorporated. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on December 22nd, 2020. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As of now, the property is in compliance and the structure has been removed. However, due to the length of time that it took to remove this structure, the town would like a finding of fact that the work was performed without permit. In the future, if work without permit is performed in the future, same violation, this case would go straight to hearing as opposed to a notice of violation. So the town is just asking for a finding of fact.
Did the board or question have any questions for the staff? There being none, the offender may now give testimony, and please provide your name and your affiliation with the violation at Seagate.
You can come up here, Felix.
Good afternoon. My name is Felix Martinez. I'm the general manager at Seagate of Highland Condominiums. I've been at Seagate for approximately 4 years. I am joined today by Peter Zinno, our board president, and also Ben Bishkoff, our board treasurer. Seagate is a 55-plus community, and as it relates to the findings, this is the first time I've been here, or this community's been here in 4 years, and I plan not to come back. We have more pressing things to do, as I'm sure as does the board, to deal with other matters. So We apologize for any of this matter. We actually, in the 4 years I've been with Seagate, I think I've gone through at least 3 different code enforcement representation, and at times, sometimes got conflicting information. This one, we take responsibility. We're sorry. We did run into this thing called COVID-19. As of June, we had some actually progress, still trying to get the permit vetted out, working closely with Mr. Manco, Mr. Remus, and Miss Ingrid. A new team, if you will, that had come in, and trying to get the vendor who installed this thing originally was a challenge. We ended up hiring 2 other vendors to disassemble it. On December 10th, we received the notice through registered mail of 2020, which is the same that I called Mr. Manco and said that everything had been permanently removed on December 10th. Subsequently, we got another letter on the 22nd of December. I do have pictures of the property as of today, if the board would like to see it. As I mentioned, we are a 55+ community. This structure, which is on the corner of the property, northwest corner of the Seagate property, is affronted by 2 sides of water on the intercoastal. And a year prior, we took out a permit, and may I add, I've probably taken out more permits in my 4 years than the prior 20 years combined or more at Seagate. So we are trying to be compliant on everything we do. This one, because of the prior vendor, and I take responsibility, didn't come out like we intended it to be. But we do have an area of the property that, as it turns out, the setbacks of the structure were, I think, ultimately the challenge that we ran into. The year prior, we had a concrete slab in the same place with the same survey from 2018 or late 2017. They got approved, permitted, and we were putting an aluminum 17-foot by 9-foot structure to give shelter to our World War II, Korean, and Vietnam veterans, plus other 55+ residents that we have there. It's the only shelter that we have adjacent to that boardwalk that we have, which is a 9-acre piece of property. Again, we've removed the structure. We apologize for any delays. The community has incurred over $6,000 at the request of the code enforcement. We did take out another survey of the property. They wanted a survey that was more recent than the one that we had submitted. Prior to that, we went, still trying to proceed forward. Again, all in the midst of COVID. And by the grace of God, we're all still here. We've lost some residents, and we're still looking for some possible solutions to provide shelter on the property. We were able to save the structure. It's packed away. And we'd like to, at some point in the future, find a location in the property that we can use this 17 by 9-foot structure, aluminum structure that was rated for 155-mile-an-hour winds. So that's the overview. Mr. Zinno or Mr. Bishkoff, anything else you'd like me to add? Okay. Again, mea culpa. We are complying with everything else that we've been aware. We just had a bocce ball court put in, and I try to get clearance on this, but it's to have a consistent message has been one of the challenges that me as a manager has run into. I try to make this town a good, friendly town to invite people in. I deal with people looking for homes to buy, places to rent. I sit on the Beach Condo Association board as a volunteer as well. Been on that board for 2+ years. That's 63 condos in Boca and Highland Beach. So I've probably heard every possible case out there. And again, this is the first time we've been here. We apologize for that and hope not to return, but would like to be treated equally, if you will, going forward on everything else. Any questions?
Does
I'm
the
just trying to
town-
get a timeline.
does the town staff, does the town staff any questions? No, town staff, does the offender offer any rebuttal testimony? No, there wouldn't be. At this time, does the board wish to question the staff, the offender, and/or anybody in the public? I have one question. I'm curious what this shelter is for exactly. Is it what you were planning?
We call it a pergola, although it's not an open air. It's just a closed roof, 4-post, I-beam post with aluminum cladding. And it was provide shelter from the sun, from the rain. I have a photo I'd like to submit today, just from today's activities, just showing you how some of this area is used by our residents. I have residents in wheelchairs, residents in walkers, canes, post-surgery, trying to do therapy. We have a lovely boardwalk along this area adjacent to where the structure was and where the concrete slab was approved. Here's a couple of pictures.
Thank you. It sounds like something we had at the 12th Evacuation Hospital in Vietnam, where I served, where we would bring ambulatory patients out so they could get fresh air. So I understand what you're talking.
Yes, sir. And we looked in speaking through with Miss Ingrid and the team, looking for solutions to possibly look at variances and once they realize our building structures are actually inside the setback code today. Our buildings were built in 1972, 48-year-old plus property now. And our building structure is inside the setbacks that are now in Muni code. And we were just trying to put that structure there. I'm not going to mention names, but there was a past official that mentioned that there was an exclusion if you have water on both sides, you can put that structure up. I couldn't ever find it in writing from this public official. And it's not certainly in the Muni code, but it was in Highland Beach's exemptions, if you will. And our residents enjoyed it. It was a place of shelter. We get a lot of rain in Florida, a lot of hard sun. So it was for full-time residents, and it was it's the only shelter that we have on the property. Everything else is an umbrella, and umbrellas tend to fly away. On this picture, you'll just see patio chairs and umbrellas there now that we're trying to substitute that coverage, but it's not the same as a larger roof over your head.
Thank you very much. Does the board have any questions of anybody involved in this at this time? There being none, the public.
I have questions.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Yes.
Miles.
Just regarding the timeline, the inspection was on March 16th, correct? And you're saying you had already had a permit prior to that, before that, and it expired? This was an expired permit? Maybe I should ask that to the code enforcement
as far as
officer.
I'm aware, we never received a permit. It was applied for. We certainly did apply for it. And we went through almost 5 or 6 months prior to the structure even going up, that the vendor was trying to get it approved, before allowing the structure to go up. I was informed by the vendor, this goes back to like 2018, under 3 regimes ago of the code enforcement, and we were getting conflicting information then. On March of this year, or I'm sorry, March of 2020, I met with Mr. Manco and Mr. Remus, if you will, to discuss the matter. And that's right when COVID started. So we kind of resurrected the case, and I was told to get a survey. We did. By April, I've got samples of the survey for the area that we took out. Again, an added cost to the project. And the vendor, which is Illumina, that had installed the unit, was asking for extensions. The code enforcement team was very gracious. They said, okay, we'll extend. COVID, we were shut down.
Yeah.
March, April. And we're still trying to get vendors out, trying to comply. And
So the permit never came?
no,
Never
sir.
got the permit, but you started building this thing?
That was going back to the beginning. That was the issue. I was told
You
by
had
the-
already started building it before you had the permit?
it was built within a day. So we were then subsequently trying to get the missing pieces. We were initially told in March that we needed a new survey because surveys needed to be done. And the interesting thing is when we were done with Miss Ingrid, she asked, did you ever have a pre-construction meeting? And we said, we were never informed. That never happened in the beginning. And I think that would help alleviate these things going forward for us, certainly, or anybody else, to clarify any gaps. So that's where it started, if you will.
Okay, thank you very much. The public hearing was closed, but we let that go forward. Now, is there a motion to approve? A motion to approve with conditions? Or a motion to deny the violation as presented by our town code enforcement officer?
It would, Mr. Chairman, it would really be a motion to find that there was a violation that's now corrected.
All right. Is there a motion to that effect? Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Should we take a roll call on this, Deputy Town Clerk?
We can do that. I'll call the roll.
Please.
Member Pearlman,
Aye.
Member Cherubini,
Aye.
Member Perlow,
Yes.
Member Slam,
Yes.
Chairperson Resnick.
Vice Chair Resnick, yes.
I'm sorry, Vice Chairperson Resnick. I apologize for that. Chairperson Burnage.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next case is case number 2020-109 at Eugene, I don't want to mispronounce the name, Hamraz? Yeah, at 1108 Highland Beach Drive. Building permit required, violation observed, deck installation being performed without a permit. Do any board members have any ex parte communications to disclose at this time?
No,
All right. Hearing none, I open the violation hearing. I now turn it over to the Code Enforcement Officer, Jason Manco, for testimony and recommendations regarding the violation.
Just to verify, I missed it. We are doing case 2020-109, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, for the record, Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance Officer, case 2020-109, address 1108 Highland Beach Drive, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I have submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on September 19th, 2020 and January 11th, 2020. On September 19th, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. This is a deck installation without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A. On September 19th, 2020, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Eugene Jamroz. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on December 22nd, 2020. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. Property was re-inspected on January 11, 2020, and the following violation remains on the property. Deck installation without permit in violation of Ordinance 30-20, in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A. The town recommends 30 days to comply the violations at a fine value of $250 a day and $250 for the cost of prosecution. Any questions?
Does any of the board members have a question of our staff?
For me, while I'm up here, then if you can have, if you want a question, I'll bring the resident representative up. There's no questions right now.
No, the question's for you right now. We'll get to the offender next. Does the board have any questions for our staff, for our code enforcement officer?
Just when was the citation? I mean, the inspection was on September 19th.
Correct.
And then that's when they got the notice of violation, and they had 30 days from that. So
yeah, it was likely 2 weeks from that point to get permit for the work being done. And then, yeah, the final posting, the hearing posting was on December 22nd. So the initial inspection was September 19th. And as of December 22nd, there had been no permit issued.
that was all before COVID.
And as of January 11th, as of yesterday, there's been no permit issued.
As of yesterday, you said?
Yes, correct. January 11th, 2020.
No permit applied for.
I believe the permit was applied for, but there were deficiencies on the permit. I don't know what those are, but it has not been issued. So I continue with my case until the permit's been issued.
And this was well before COVID.
Well,
Back-
after COVID, I mean, this
No.
was September of last year.
Oh, wait, yeah, what am I saying? 2020, okay.
Yeah.
21. Okay, yeah.
Does Mr. Remus have anything he wants to add to this?
Excuse me.
Regarding-
Jeff,
regarding the-
Jeff Remus, building official. The board, I'd just like to add, could you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. I'd just like to add that the permit was applied for on November 25th is when it was applied for. It had 4 responses to the permit, deficiency report, a fee invoice, a notice of incomplete application, and it wasn't until actually today that it was literally just put in plan review, because finally just now the contractor, as of today, finally submitted a proper contract. And this started in November. It was applied for on November 25th, as I stated, and our first notification went out to them right on December 2nd. So there's been adequate time to address this. And it looks like today, now they finally made it to the point where we will actually look at the drawings and look at the technical aspects of it. But so far it has taken them a month, almost a month and a half just to respond to simple requests for paperwork, like a permit application, like a legal contract. So I just wanted to update you with where we're at right now.
right, thank you. Does the
We hear from the residents.
testimony, does the offender wish to give testimony at this time? Mr. Yamroz?
Yeah, Eugene Jamros.
Yes,
Like I said, in September, I got notice about the deck. I was restoring the old deck. It was falling apart, so I was putting new deck on it, replacing the old deck. Did not have to have a permit. So when I find out, I didn't have a survey for the property because the COVID is not so easy to get survey and people come to do survey. So it took me about almost 2 months to get survey to the property. Then I hired the contractor and I put everything in his hands to do the work and let him to talk because he's working with the city.
My name is Keith Chambers. I'm an architect and a contractor. And as of November 13th of last year, I had a contract with the gentleman. He signed it. The only stipulate was, and I just found out because I was out of town, on January 4th, they told me I had to add my general contractor's license to the document. I never found out about it until today because my client called me and said he's got a hearing. So I said, okay, I don't understand why my GC license has to be added to a contract, a civil contract. And it has to do, and I submitted this, like I said, November 13th. I also submitted, I have also documentations that I submitted everything to the building department on the 14th of December of last year. And I thought at that time, I thought I had completed the entire, and I was told that everything was completed. I didn't hear about this information to be on my GC license has to be on a contract. I don't see the legality of that. What I just did was I violated my contract by putting additional information on it without my client knowing about it. Usually when you change a contract, you have to get signature by the owner and by the thing. But I ended up sending it in today. And I said, okay, I didn't know about this and I didn't get notified till the 4th of January. Now, I submitted everything I thought, and including the city information on December 3rd of last year because they asked me for my license, the tax receipt, my liability insurance, a workman's comp exemption, and I qualify with my driver's license. That was all submitted. That was one of the comments. I submitted all that. Then they asked me for my county tax. I said, well, I gave you my local. So I ended up doing that on the 14th of December. I thought I was looking up today to get the results of my permit. I didn't know about this other issue. And I really expected the permit to be done shortly. Now, with the holidays, I figure everybody might be out of town and not be reviewing my documents. But I was not derelict with my duties as an architect and a contractor.
Does the town,
The money was actually, there was additional fee that I paid on December 28th, which was the fee. And I paid that in December of last year, 20. So I'm assuming that I had paid the last permit. I had submitted all the documents, and then I got a deficiency again on the 4th, which I was out of the town at the time. And now I was out to the 5th. So now we're standing here in front of you saying, you know, it makes it sound like I did something deficiency. And my client's here, and I don't like to be ridiculed. I think I did everything that everybody's asked me for. And I've never put my GC license on a contract ever in the 30 years that I've been in the construction business.
I have a real quick question. You started the work before the permit was issued?
Again, my client, I didn't do the work. My client had a different person.
I did the work, but I didn't know I need permit to restore all things.
So the work was started prior to the permit being issued. Is that the answer?
Yes.
Thank you. Does the town staff have any questions of the offender? Jason?
There is a permit issued now or not, Mr. Manco?
No, the permit's not issued now. That's why the town's asking for
Okay.
30 days to rectify and obtain a permit or fining at a cost of $250 a day plus cost of prosecution $250. So no permit has been issued as of now.
No permit no permit has been applied for to this date?
No, the permit has been applied for. That's what he was just explaining. There were deficiencies in the permit. I believe 3 or 4 deficiencies that have gone back. And now it's gone to the point where the deficiencies haven't been remedied as of this point. Maybe they were remedied today, but that's just to get it into the review process. The permit has not been issued. If the deficiencies that the town has asked for have been addressed, the permit gets reviewed, and within 30 days, the permit gets issued and we're all done. If the permit does not get issued for other reasons, you know, a bevy of reasons why a permit could not be issued, then that would be, we would either, the permit would be required in 30 days or the structure has to come down in 30 days.
All right, I have a question, Jason. The work has been completed, is that correct?
I don't know if the work has been completed.
It was started?
It was started, yes.
The work was started prior to any permit being issued is my question.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
And a permit is now issued?
No.
Not.
Permit is
Still
not issued. It's been applied for, it has not been issued. You can apply for a permit and it could be a bogus application is what I'm, so until the permit get issued, my case remains open.
So the $250 fine would be per day starting
Per
from
day,
today?
if you have an illegal structure, that's what we're requesting, $250 a day plus $250 for the cost of prosecution.
Starting today.
No, we asked for 30 days to remedy it. We'll allow him 30 days to get the permit,
Okay.
okay? And if it's not at that
Can I
point.
clarify
if-
something,
if we
please?
would Certify those fines. Okay? Any other questions?
All right, there being none, does the offender wish to offer any rebuttal testimony and ask questions of the staff at this time? No? All right. At this time, does the board have any other questions of either staff, the offender, or anybody else? All right, there being none, the public hearing is now closed. So nobody can start asking questions of anybody else on this point. Is there a motion to approve? A motion to approve with conditions or a motion to deny the violation?
All right, we're going to have to change these motions up. So the motion should be whether there's a violation, and if the motion is there's a violation, how much time to comply, what the fine will be thereafter, and if the board wants to award the town the administrative costs that they're seeking of $250.
Does anybody wish to make that motion, please?
I'll give you all.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's, I move to approve the proposal by the Code Enforcement Building Department, which was a 30-day grace period to be followed by $250 per day after that, and a $250 cost of prosecution.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion on this motion? There being none, will the town clerk call the roll?
Member Slam,
Yes.
Member Perlow,
Yes.
Member Pearlman,
Yes.
Member Cherubini,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Resnick,
Yes.
Chairperson Burnage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're on to case number 2020-10-002. Antonella Di Bello, 1008 Bel Air Drive, number A3. Violation AC installation, permit required. Instructed contractor to apply for permit on Monday or permit penalties will apply. Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose in this matter?
No.
There being none, I open the violation hearing and I call the code enforcement officer, Jason Manco, to give his testimony and recommendations, please.
For the record, Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance Officer. Case number 2020-10-002, address 1008 Bel Air Drive, Unit A3, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on October 24th, 2020 and January 11th, 2020. On October 27th, 2020, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. AC installation without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A. On October 24th, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser, public access tax roll, Antonella and John DeBello. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on December 22nd, 2020. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. Property was inspected on January 11th, 2020, and the following violation remains on property. Number one, AC installation without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A. Town recommends 30 days to comply the violation. The cost of $250 per day and $250 for the cost of prosecution. Any questions?
Is there an offender here or no?
I don't know. Zoom, maybe. I don't know if there's anyone on there.
Well, at this time, Miles, we're asking questions of the staff. We'll get to the offender next.
No, this is a common occurrence. People, swapping out their AC unit for a new one. And I think that there are a lot of people that don't realize that you need to pull a permit for that. They're thinking they're just swapping out one piece of equipment for another, but you definitely do. I know. And
I just replaced the hot water tank and I had to do the same thing and it was still in.
Right.
yeah, it's the same kind of thing. So,
Do you have any questions of the staff, Miles?
yeah, I'm just looking at the notice. It was November 13th. And then we had the holidays. They had 30 days from then, right? To comply? 30
Yeah,
days?
so this notice that you have there, it was actually October 24th. This was if you notice, this notice of violation was a reprint off of SmartGov. And it says down at the bottom, printed 11/13. So SmartGov repopulates this notice of violation with a November 13th. Yeah, so that is not an accurate reflection of the notice of violation there. It was October 24th.
Well, the issue is they've installed a new air conditioner and didn't get a permit. They've had time to get a permit.
Yeah, in many of these cases, it's not the actual owner or the resident, but it's the contractor, the AC contractor.
Correct.
They're the ones, because I know I had the same thing with my AC company, and they told me they got a permit, and I found out a year later that they never did it. So they had to go back, and I made them go back and take care of it. But, Miss Bello, I guess it is, she might have just hired an AC person to put a new AC in and not know about all this, but the AC company knew.
I understand ignorance of the law is no excuse, though. Is that correct?
Right, and this, this is, again, to summarize it, right, they were installing the AC without permit. The homeowner, yes, you're right, usually could be the problem of the contractor that's not doing, but ultimately it's on the homeowner's responsibility. The homeowners was notified, certified mail posted to the property. So the homeowner's aware of it.
Okay.
Did they try to rectify it in any way?
I have not heard. On site, I spoke to the contractor and the homeowner, so they were aware on this day. I spoke to both of them, let them know. You can replace an AC, an emergency unit. We allow 24 hours. If you have, if your AC goes and you call up an AC contractor, they can come on in, replace the AC, and then go to town and apply for a permit after the fact for an emergency AC. I advised them to do so. They never came in for that emergency permit. The notice of violation was opened up to let them know they've got, 2 weeks to apply for a permit, regardless of whether you're getting an emergency permit after the fact or not. And so they were,
And when was that, Jason?
that was on October 24th.
And she's not here, obviously. So
That's what I was going to ask questions. Is the offender ready to give testimony or not here? They're not here.
I think she's here.
Does the town staff?
Or on Zoom.
There was another person on Zoom that I did not recognize. And that could have been her. I don't know. No, it wasn't. Okay.
Okay, well, if that's the case and the offender is not here to defend themselves in any way, I'm moving that we accept.
Yet the bill, please don't jump ahead. The meeting is still open. Do any of the other board members have any questions of the staff? All right, being that the offender is not here, there's no way that we can question or the staff can question them. Therefore, the public hearing is now closed. Now we need a motion as how to proceed with this particular offender. Will Mr.
I move to accept the building department's proposal of 30-day grace period, followed by 250 a day for each day they're not in compliance, and 250 cost of prosecution.
Second.
Excuse me, is that what the town requested? I don't remember exactly.
No.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it is.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I would like to say something. It looks like
Certainly.
we're constantly having this problem, and we're only giving people 30 days more after they've had months and months to rectify things. In the meantime, we get no fines or anything because eventually they do fix it. So we have to live with this type of craziness from all these offenders.
Would you like to amend the motion?
Well, I'd like to give a violation should be $250 for not even responding to the original.
They are paying a cost of prosecution. That's
That-
$250.
Yeah, we have that in the
They
motion.
are paying the cost of prosecution, that's true.
Yes. Do you want to amend the motion to shorten the time or anything like that?
Yeah, I'd like to shorten the
All
time.
right, then give us a motion to amend this motion then, please.
Hold on a second.
I'd like to amend it so that that
Ms. Perlow has the floor.
I'd like to amend it to give them 2 weeks to go for the permit. I think to give them another month is kind of extraordinary after they've had it for so many months.
Thank you. Is there a second to the amendment?
I have a question.
Well, first there has to be a second, otherwise the amendment is mute. Now, is there a
Is
second?
that an amendment for every case? We're just going to go with 2 weeks now instead of 30
No.
days?
We're just, please, there's no discussion yet until there's a second to this amendment. So just wait. Is there a second to the amendment? There being no second, then the amendment fails. We're still with the original motion. The original motion is $250 in cost for the violation, 30 days grace period, $250 a day after that. Is there any discussion now of the motion? Any more discussion? There being none, I ask the deputy town clerk to please call the roll on the motion.
Member Slam,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Resnick,
Yes.
Member Pearlman,
Yes.
Member Cherubini,
Yes.
Member Perlow,
No,
Chairperson Burnage,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. We're now to case 2020-10-005, Jennifer Gaffey, 3100 South Ocean Boulevard, apartment 404. Building permit is required. Observe working without a permit, demolition. Do any of the board members have ex parte communication in this matter?
No.
There being none, at this time I open the violation hearing and I ask the code enforcement officer to make his presentation.
Inspector Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach, code compliance, case number 2020-10-005, address 3100 South Ocean Boulevard, unit number 404, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on October 27, 2020 and January 11th, 2020. On October 27, 2020, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. Unit demolition remodel without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A. On October 27, 2020, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser, public access tax roll, Jennifer Gaffey. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on December 22nd, 2020. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted on Town Hall. Property was inspected January 11, 2020, and the following violations remain on the property. Unit demolition remodel without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A. Town recommends 30 days to comply the violation. It costs $250 per day and $250 for the prosecution. However, I will, when I believe the resident is here, apparently the contractor applied for a permit at the wrong address and used the condominium association as the location of work as opposed to this specific unit. So it seems like there's an error. I believe the contractor and the resident, they're applying for the permit, and I'm aware of that. However, the permit was issued to an incorrect address. So for this property, I do not have a permit. Just to ensure that, compliance with the permit, that's why we're asking for another 30 days. Because as of now, there is no permit for this work on this property. So that's kind of my understanding of what's happened with this permit, because I don't have record of it. I'll be happy to take questions, or if you'd like to speak to.
Does the board have any questions for the staff member?
This was like major demolition going on?
Yeah, this is a unit remodel. There's whatever you want. There's a demolition of, okay, yeah. Work requiring a permit,
All right.
structural, plumbing.
Any
electrical.
other board members have a question of Jason? All right, does the offender wish to give testimony at this time? Please identify yourself. If you come up to the podium, please.
Can you please speak into the mic?
Is this individual on Zoom or on there she, okay,
He's present here.
thank you.
My name is Jennifer Gaffey. I live at 3100 South Ocean Boulevard, number 404. I do have my permit in front of me with my name on it. I believe this is an office error. However, I will start at the very beginning. The issue started December 26th, 2018. No, I'm sorry, 2019, 26th. The day after Christmas, I had a leak, a sewage leak between my two bathrooms. We have a back-to-back bathroom, typical 2-2. The ServPro came out, they demoed my whole bathroom, and the building plumber came to fix the pipe. Now, I suspect that they had a permit. Now, I had nothing to do with that. All I did was call them and say, please help me. The leak went down into building number 303 and 202. There was a permit pulled for the plumbing for all 3 units, which was in my window of my condo. Yes, that has expired, obviously. But after the fact, I hired a PA, public adjuster, to come in and help me because insurance was only going to give me a certain amount to finish we put up a new bathroom and all new flooring that leaked out into my bedroom, closet, and out into the living room. Wasn't water either. Raw sewage. So ServPro came, they took up everything in my living room, which was carpeting, my bedroom my bathroom. Now, the next thing that happened was the PA came in, got a little bit more money for me, but that was it, and he left. We had a release from Citizens Insurance. So I hired someone else. He came in and said, was there a mold remediation done? I said, absolutely not. I am highly allergic to mold. I need something done because at that point, and I have my doctor's, I'm a 3-time cancer survivor, and I put into my doctor, my ENT, I was coughing like I had COVID, let's put it that way. So I knew there was mold in there. They ripped out where they found mold in my sheetrock and found mold in the other bathroom on the backside and in the ceiling. Now, the ceiling was not due to this leak. It was due to the apartment above me, which was where Betty Cabral was murdered in 2018. She was right above me, and no one has been in that condo since then. No one, other than police. We can't even go in there. There was a leak in there, brought down, and there was mold. So they removed the rest of that bathroom and out into my bedroom where there was mold. They tried, now, then COVID hit. So nothing had been done, nothing and nothing. He kept putting me off. And then when he did decide that his contractor and his company was going to do the work and he could do it great, and they all came out, it was way too expensive for me. So I own a business in Boca Raton. My contractor who built my addition came out, took a look and said he could do it. So he brought in plumbers, electricians, everything. I figured that they are supposed to get the permits. I'm not supposed to apply for a permit. They came in and the plumber found, because to begin with, I figured if I'm gonna do the 2 bedrooms, and I'm going through all this, all new flooring, I might as well do the kitchen. He took a look underneath the sink and found a leak under the sink because I wasn't living there. I had no bathrooms. I haven't been living there since last April, which has been very difficult for me, but that's none of your problem. So he found a leak underneath the sink, which was coming from the main stack in our 55-year-old building. That had to be fixed. So they pulled out where my sink was, they pulled out the cabinet above it, and in so doing, my contractor decided to just pull out the rest of the kitchen because I said I'm gonna have to do the kitchen over. We have applied for permits. I have all the applications here. It does say to Jennifer Gaffey, not to Penthouse Highlands. I do know that there was an issue because my contractor was sending JPEGs, not PDFs. So I do know that. So time has been going back and forth, making sure that we have every single piece that you guys require. That has been done. I have copies of it all. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry if a permit was not pulled. I figured that there was a permit pulled somewhere along the line between all the plumbing and the mold remediation. So this is not my forte, let's say. If I have done something wrong, I am trying to correct it now by having this permit done. In fact, I was given a permit number and I have paid it. I've paid for it. I have a receipt for it. I have the permit number. I just don't have the permit in my hand. So I don't know what to do. I'd like to do the right thing. I obviously want to hand this house down to my kids, which is going to happen pretty shortly. So I would like it to be done so that they don't have to worry about it. And that's where I'm at right now.
Thank you very much. Does the town staff have any questions to this person? Miss Jason, do you have any questions?
Yes,
Kathy?
Jeff Remus, building official. Can I please ask what permit number you are referring to?
BK 21-0003. That's what I was given.
I'm sorry, the number again, the BR?
Hold on. I guess it's BR. I wrote it down. Hold on.
BR 21-0003, correct?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, just to clarify, that permit was applied for on January 4th by the contractor, which is Carl Mausch, Inc. They applied, they never uploaded anything at all. They did not upload the application, the notice of commencement, the asbestos, the construction site handbook, a contract, equipment specs, plans. They uploaded absolutely nothing. What I will tell you is that on January 6th and then January 7th, Carol Holland, the manager here for the office, sent out notices of incomplete application to the contractor twice. We have not heard back. No fees have been paid on this permit at all.
Yes, I paid
We have,
$640.
yeah, since really, I'll count March 1st as COVID. We have received significantly more, but we have issued 701 permits since then through our online portal system because we're 100% paperless. And the day that, as a matter of fact, what I could even tell you is that your contractor only logged on one time just to put the basic amount of information in order to get that permit application number. And he did that at 3:55 p.m. on the 4th of January. Because I have an audit of I know exactly who logs in, when, what they do. So there is no permit, there
This
is
was-
no application, there's
Go ahead.
just an online form filled out. So right now we have nothing, and this has been going on since October.
It's been
So
going on for
to
me for a
clarify
while.
that, the permit number that you were speaking of.
All right, well, that's all I was given by my contractor. He told me that that was the permit number. I have been getting the emails from Lindsay, and he has sent everything in. However, it was JPEG and not PDF. She kept saying, we don't accept JPEGs. Now, whether this gentleman doesn't know how to put in transfer a JPEG to a PDF, I have no idea. That's not my problem. My problem is that these things are happening to me. If I was to be the one applying for it, it would have been done a hell of a long time ago. I don't understand how contractors can get away with not putting in, or I watched him. Let me just tell you something. He sat in my office at my store. I signed all the papers. We had it notarized on December 20th, and I watched him put it in, everything. So I don't know where it's getting lost. I don't understand. I do understand that this difference between a JPEG and a PDF. I don't know why he hasn't applied for them. I mean, that's an official, that's an a clerical error as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know on whose part, but I can see them on my email. I have them. I have the copies, same copies. I don't understand.
Ma'am, I hate to tell you this, but it's your responsibility to see that your contractor's doing what he's supposed to do. It's not the town's responsibility to monitor.
I am, and if they're telling me that they have all the permits and that the permits are going through, and then they don't, what am I supposed to do?
You need
I
to
don't
check.
understand.
You need to check with the town. You don't have a permit at this point because the gentleman that is representing you as a contractor is not fulfilling all the requirements. Now, that's not the town's fault. It's the contractor's fault, and you need to get with him and hold up any money that you may owe him because it's your responsibility to see that this is taken care of. I hate to tell you that.
Well, I've already.
I know how difficult it is. I've remodeled my apartment. I've had to be on top of my contractors day and night, making
I
sure.
don't live there. I'm a single woman who owns my own business. I live and work 24 hours a day practically.
Ma'am, we're all in that same boat. We're all dealing with COVID. I have underlying conditions. My wife fell and damaged her rotator cuff. I can give you stories all day long what's going on.
I have rotator cuffs, okay?
Surgery. I'm sorry for your problems, but the problem is you have to have a permit. And the permit has not been approved according to our town building department. Now, we can sit here and talk about this for hours, and we can, this board can come down and tell you what we're willing to do, which is probably, I'm guessing, will probably give you 30 days to get this.
30 days, 250, I already know it. I've heard about
All
that.
right, and past that, it's gonna be $250 a day. So I think I would get on my contractor and straighten him out, and he can learn real quick how to transfer a JPEG into a PDF. It's not rocket science, all right?
Well, with some of these contractors it is, I'll tell you that.
You know, you can file.
Then fire the contractor and get a different contractor. I don't know what to tell you. This
Free.
is not responsible for your contractors, ma'am, please. I understand you have a nasty situation here. We're here about a violation of not having a permit to be doing what you're doing. I can't help that. I'm sorry.
Can
Everybody on
I
this
ask
board
the
is
question?
sorry.
Can I
At
ask
this
the
point-
question?
Yes.
Thank you. When construction is done, I haven't done anything to the house. The restoration people came in and took down my bathroom. Was there a permit? I don't know. It was the day after Christmas. How do you hire someone who is reputable with B&B, which I've taught, Better Business Bureau. I went online, I checked everybody. How do you do that? Do I sue them? Do I call them? Do I make them
Yes,
pay
you
them?
call
How
them.
do I
You
do
call,
this?
you call
I
your
can't
contractor.
afford it.
That's who you're doing business with. The
You
town
can file a
town
suit
requires
against
the
them.
permits. The town requires the permits. That's the statute. This board doesn't make the statute. We're here to enforce the statute. So please, do you have any other testimony at this time that's relevant?
I think I already said the relevant.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Does the board have any questions of the staff or the offender at this time? Any board member have any questions in this matter? There being none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to accept the code enforcement officer's recommendations in this matter?
Repeat the recommendation, please.
I believe it's a $250 fine, 30 days to comply, and after that, $250 a day. Am I correct, Jason?
Yeah, 250 for the cost of prosecution,
Correct.
250 per day if not complied within 30 days.
Correct. Is there a second to that motion? Or is there a motion, first of all? Is there?
I'll
a-
make a motion.
All right, Ms. Perlow made the motion. Is there a second? It's been seconded. Will the deputy town clerk please call the roll?
Could the motion be repeated, please? I'd like to hear it one more time.
I believe the motion is the offender has 30 days to acquire the permit. After that, it's $250 a day fine if not obtained, and a $250 fine now for this hearing.
Cost.
Cost,
That's not a fine. That is cost of prosecution.
yes.
Correct.
Any other questions? At this point, let's please have the deputy town clerk please call the roll.
Before she does, I'd like to amend that motion, just
All right,
no fine. I'd like to amend the motion with no fine if the proper applications are put in within 30 days.
I don't believe it's a fine, it's a cost of the prosecution. But all right, you're putting
What prosecution?
is there a second to drop? Is there a second to dropping that?
I second that.
All
Not a
right,
fine, but to waive the cost of prosecution if she gets the proper paperwork in, her permits in within the next 30 days. It sounds like there was a lot of confusion
all
here.
right, thank you. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Could you?
There being none,
Chairperson Burnage, can you repeat the motion and the amendment for clarification of the records? Because
all right, well, first we're voting on, well, the motion is 30 days to comply and get the permit. There's a $250 prosecution charge. And after the 30 days, if the permit isn't obtained, it's $250 a day fine. There's an amendment on the floor to drop the $250 fine, not the fine, the
Cost.
the prosecution, if the offender complies within 30 days. It's been moved and seconded. We're now ready to vote on the amendment first. Please, Deputy Town Clerk, please call the roll on the, it's been moved and seconded. We already went through that, please. All right, we're voting on the amendment. Will the Deputy Town Clerk please call the roll?
The amendment.
Yes. Member Perlow,
Yes.
Member Pearlman,
Yes.
Member Cherbini,
Yes.
Member Slam,
Yes.
Vice Person Resnick, Vice
Yes.
Chairperson Resnick, Chairperson Burnage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
No, that's the amendment carries.
The amendment.
Now we're voting on the motion. The motion is, 30 days to comply and get the permit, $250 a day if that does not occur. And there's a $250 fine at the end of the 30 days if the offender does not comply and get the permit. We're now voting on the main motion. Will the deputy town clerk please call the roll?
Member Pearlman,
Yes.
Member Cherubini,
Yes.
Member Perlow,
Yes,
Member Slam,
This is the first
Yes.
one? No.
No, this is the main motion.
I voted on the amended motion, yes.
Yes, you voted on the amendment. Now we're voting on the motion. Please follow us.
your vote is no?
That was the one with the
The
250 fine?
Yes. that's
No.
the First one.
No, that's not, no, the main motion is they would pay the 250 fine if they don't comply in 30 days.
That's what we're voting on.
They don't comply. Okay, yes.
All right.
Vice Chairperson Resnick,
Yes.
Chairperson Burnage,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. Next case. We've got a busy day going here. Case
You-
20-001. Pardon?
Jason,
Yes.
it'd be improper for any of us, but perhaps it would be worthwhile. I'm not sure she understood all that went on around here, what this final motion was. If it's okay with the rest of the board to have Jason contact her and make sure she understands.
Yeah, I just spoke with her briefly. I have her phone number. We'll clarify
Okay.
any confusion.
Thank you.
All right, the next case is 20-0014. Richard Tuchetti, am I pronouncing that correctly? At 1006 Grand Court LLC. It's Grand K Estates. Non-compliance to notice of violation letters November 20th regarding the pilings and associated boat lift components deemed unsafe by the building official. The original building permit 39412 that expired and development order application number 20-0014 that was denied by the planning board on November 12th, 2020. Does any board members have ex parte communications in this matter?
I might have some ex parte communication since I live across the way and have been complaining about this for about 4 years.
All right, then you want to not be party to this, I take it.
Is that, well, tell me what
I'll
not
ask
being,
the attorney, should Mr. Rubin, should he recuse himself in this matter?
Is Mr. Resnick the complainant?
no,
I mean, so what was, I need to know what your involvement was, Mr. Resnick.
He lives across from where this is happening. He has a view of it. Is that correct?
yes.
Merely a view of it is not a conflict.
All right. So Mr. Resnick does not have to recuse himself in this matter.
No.
At this time, I'm opening the violation hearing and asking our code enforcement officer, Jason Manco, to provide his testimony and recommendations regarding the violation. Jason?
For the record, Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance, case number 2020-0014. Address is 1006 Grand Court, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and
Excuse
accurately.
me, Jason, could you slow just a little bit between the mask and
Sure.
you're speaking? I'm not receiving.
I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during inspection on November 20th, 2020, and January 11th, 2020. On November 20th, 2020, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. Dock pilings deemed unsafe by building official, not according to permit, in violation of Town Ordinance 30-112A. On November 20th, 2020, notice of violation was sent to the owner on the property appraiser, public access tax roll, 1006 Grand Court LLC, and Edgar Bennis, the registered agent, Service was obtained by posting at the property address on December 22nd, 2020. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. The violations were re-inspected on January 11th, 2020, and they still exist. Town recommends 30 days to comply the violations at $250 per day and $250 for the cost of prosecution.
Thank you, Jason. Does the board have any questions of Jason or any other staff member?
I do. Jason, is this a property that we once discussed with the boat that there's?
No, I know what you're talking about. That's a
No.
different issue. That's a different,
Okay.
yeah.
This is not that property.
Thank you.
Any other board members have questions? All right, the offender in this particular case may provide testimony. Please give your name and affiliation with the violation. I take it it's Mr. Scott. How do you pronounce your last name?
Weirs.
All right. I don't like to mess up people's last names because mine gets messed up a lot.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, I've been facing that my entire life.
Mhm.
Although the good thing with W is that whenever they reverse the alphabetical ordering, I came first. That's
Okay.
about the only good thing that came with that last name. So Scott Weirs on behalf of 1006 Grand Court LLC and Richard Touchette. This here
Excuse me,
related
I take it
to,
you're their attorney? Is that the?
I am, yes. So I'm litigation counsel. Ellie Zacharitis is also on the Zoom hearing. She is land use counsel for them. She
All right.
presented at the planning board below.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So this is before you while there is an appeal pending of the decision by the planning board. So just a little bit of history. This is kind of a strange set of circumstances that occurred. There was an initial application for a 10-post boat lift that was approved. And as a result of the approval, the pilings for the 10 posts were driven in. And there was a stop work order that was issued by the town building official because the pilings were installed at 12 feet. The town building official was under the impression that they were only supposed to be installed at 4 feet. So there was a lack of communication, perhaps as a result of the initial application. The initial application showed 4 foot for the dock pilings and did not indicate a height for the boat lift pilings. And the reason why that is because the town's code does not specify a direct maximum height for pilings. It simply says that the pilings should be only so high that the bottom of the keel of any boat shall not be hoisted greater than 1 foot above the minimum seawall elevation. And in no case shall the lift be higher than the superstructure of the boat when lifted. So the town's code is essentially about an indirect measurement that the boat can only be lifted so high, and that dictates how tall the pilings can be. The testimony, so the town stopped work on the 12-foot pilings, took the position that they could only be at 4 foot high. As a result, the applicant went back and proposed a 7-foot height for these pilings to be used for the boat lift. And the testimony before the planning board was that 7 foot is essentially used by everybody. That is the minimum height at which somebody can walk beneath the boat lift structure and not hit their head on the cross members that essentially make up the boat lift itself. And so all boat lifts are done at roughly this 7-foot height. That was the applicant's expert that gave testimony. That was also the town's expert that gave that testimony as well. So the 4-foot height, I think everybody agreed that that could have never been the height for boat lift pilings because you just can't make a boat lift on 4-foot pilings. It has to be at 7 feet. The tension that you were running into with the town, and I appreciate the town's position, is that the neighbors just don't like where the boat lift is situated. Apparently it's an odd shaped lot, and so the location for this boat lift is put in a portion of the lot that neighbors have been offended by, apparently. They've said that it's blocked their view. That there was no testimony in the lower tribunal proceeding either about blockage of view, nor could there be, because again, both experts on both sides agreed that if there is a boat sitting there, the boat is what obstructs the view, not the pilings. And of course, everybody's entitled to have a boat behind their house, and that's limited by the size of the lot, the width of the lot, the width of the boat, things of that sort. But again, the real problem, the real rub here is where the lift is going to situate on the lot. Nonetheless, the board denied the application for the 7 feet and is essentially taking the position that, hey, look, you've got an approval at 4 feet. If you want to keep the pilings at 4 feet, cut them down to 4 feet. The petitioner hired my firm. We filed the appeal into the circuit court, and we said, look, all the testimony below, the substantial competent evidence, if you will, is that it has to be at 7 feet. That's the only height that you can build a boat lift. It was already approved in this location on the lot, and so thus it should be reversed. That's sitting with the appellate court, and I expect that may take a few months before a decision is rendered. Here, the permit is now on the verge of expiring. This notice of violation is as relating to these 12-foot pilings that are sitting out there. We filed a motion to stay in the appellate court, and we also filed a motion to stay in the town as well, essentially saying, look, let's just hold the status quo. The pilings are already in place, not because of any bad act or ill will or malicious intention of the petitioner, but the pilings were driven in. The pilings are there for the boat lift that he was going to construct. If the appeal is successful, then the pilings will stay at 7 feet. They'll be cut to the 7 feet. If the appeal is not successful, then obviously we have to figure out the next course. But while the appeal is pending, the town should not be taking any action on any matters that are related to the appeal. Jurisdiction is like a hot potato. The town has it while the town has it, and as soon as an appeal is filed, that hot potato gets kicked off to the circuit court, and that jurisdiction is now with the circuit court. The circuit court should be the one to rule on the motion to stay until it kicks it back down to the town and maybe sends the hot potato back. But right now, it's with the circuit court. The circuit court is likely to rule on the motion to stay. It has not yet. And so we ask the town to defer pending that resolution of the motion to stay that is in the appellate court. Frankly, by not doing that, I think it's just a waste of judicial resources and the town's resources, because if it comes back, or let's say the town moves forward on enforcement, we'd have to then go file another action in the circuit court. We got to move for an injunction. That seems like a waste of everybody's effort. I'd rather see this deferred for now until the circuit court decides what they want to do with it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question of Mr. Rubin. Do you want to comment on this, sir?
Yeah, I can provide a little background. And I have talked to Mr. Weirs about this issue. The planning board, I don't want to get into the specifics of that case because it's on appeal and that'll be briefed and discussed at the appellate level. But we did receive the request. I'll just tell you factually, the town received the request for the stay. The town's position was, well, we would consider staying it if it was reduced to the 7 feet that's currently under appeal. But the petitioner, or the respondent in this case, rejected that and said, no, they wouldn't agree to that. So the town's position is, well, at 12 feet, they're in violation. And until the court, which as Mr. Weirs explained, the court has jurisdiction, until the court enters the stay, that we will move forward with the enforcement action.
Thank you. Does the town staff any questions of Mr. Weirs? There being none, does the offender or Mr. Weirs wish to give any rebuttal testimony?
Let Ellie, do you have anything to say? I would just say that the reason why we've not wanted to make any changes is because typically in these cases, preserving the status quo is always the best effort. We would not take any further action in construction of the lift, but similarly, we don't want to be cutting any pilings because frankly, I don't want them to cut and then find out that we've cut too much. I'd rather just everybody take hands off. The status quo is preserved. We won't take any further action in moving forward. The town doesn't take any further action. The appeal gets resolved, and then we decide at that point which way to proceed. Ellie, do you have anything to add on that?
Yes, Ellie Zacharias and Amos Backman. I have been sworn in. To add to Mr. Weirs' presentation, and I think he hit all the nails on the head, we have a 10 piling boat lift that was approved. The only issue that's going to be before the court and the only issue that was before the planning board was the height of those pilings, not the location. Those were already approved. The location and the number of those pilings were already approved. I do hear Mr. Rubin though, while of course we'd prefer to have a hands-off approach with regard to while this is in an appeal and in the circuit court, if it's the will of this board, perhaps we could agree to cut them down to 9 feet. We don't want to cut them down to 7 because obviously there are, things that need to be done. So they would be more professionally done later, hopefully when we successfully win our appeal. But if we can cut them down to 9 at this juncture, I think the client would be willing to do so, if that is the will of the board.
Thank you.
And the only thing I'd add on top of that is that, again, the code is that the bottom of the keel of the boat should not be higher than 1 foot above the minimum seawall height. And it is never going to be the case that this boat is higher than that. So the pilings are going to be at whatever height the lift is going to be installed at so that the boat is properly lifted out of the water, but it's not going to exceed the code requirement.
Chairperson, Jeffrey,
Yes.
Mr. Official, may I clarify?
Yeah. Please.
Yes. So with respect to the height of the boat lift pilings, that was prior to me being here. My predecessor, Mr. Massey, had put a stop work order on a job because of the height of the pilings of the boat lift did not match what was on the approved drawings. And one of the things that Mr. Weirs did refer to says that they didn't show the height of the pilings of the boat lift, but the drawing was to scale, and they did draw with a reference line the height of the boat lift pilings. So Mr. Massey's stop work order was based on the Florida Building Code, section 107.4, for not building in accordance with the approved drawings under the building permit. And it was at that time that the town took the position that this has to go back to the planning board because what they approved clearly showed 4 feet and they were going higher than that. And that was the reasoning. But I just wanted to clarify that point and the fact that because the drawings were to scale with a reference elevation, there was a definitive height of the boat lift pilings. And that's all.
Thank you. At this time, does any member of the board have a question of the attorneys or our staff in this matter?
I just want to clarify with staff that their drawings were for 4-foot pilings and they're presently 10? Is that what it is now?
15.
Or they're 15?
I'd say.
What are they?
They're 12.
Yes. Yes. They were proposed at 4 feet heights above the finished dock, and they came in and were installed at 12 feet above the finished dock.
Okay. And there's currently appeals on this with the planning board and the circuit court, right?
The planning board denied the application to amend the height of the boat pilings to 7 feet. That has been appealed to the Circuit Court Appellate Division via petition for writ of certiorari.
For the town. I'm looking at the
Can't,
notice.
can't hear. Can you put your
Yeah,
mic?
can't hear.
Okay, I'm looking at the notice of violation dated November 20. And it says that the pilings and associated boat lift components are deemed unsafe by the building official. Are the pilings unsafe?
Hold on. So and I'm assuming that's to me, since I'm the one who wrote that. Because there were no inspections because the job was stopped and the boat pilings are higher than what was designed based on wind loads, we are unable to terminate, and now we have a structure that is present that is higher than what it was planned, which was never approved at that height. Therefore, structure is considered unsafe because we don't know how sturdy it is. And because of that is the reasoning to ask for it to be removed prior to the appeal.
So the
Ellie, were
town,
there revised
Circuit Court.
drawings that were submitted? I thought there were revised drawings submitted for the 7 and the 12 that showed engineering calculations for the pilings. Ellie, do you recall that prior applications and prior revised drawings? And if not, is that something we could provide to the town to demonstrate that from an engineering perspective, they are safe?
I think Ellie dropped off.
So,
Oh, okay. That would explain it.
yeah, she's not. So,
Not ignoring you.
right. The building
That's right.
department did not receive a new building permit application showing anything because it didn't get through the planning board first. So we officially have nothing. In the meantime, unless you have new ones, I think, Ellie, you really know, all of the DEP approval and Army Corps approvals have since also expired.
We have secured additional approvals prior to the planning board, and I'm so sorry if I missed some of this conversation. I got kicked off. I had to get back on. I apologize. Sorry, Mr. Ramos. When we submitted for those 7-foot height pilings, we had submitted in that package all additional approvals. So we have our approvals.
Yes.
Ellie,
but-
the question was whether or not the pilings are safely installed. And I guess the notice of violation was relating to, or the stop work order was relating to the installation of the pilings beyond what had been shown in prior diagrams. And thus the town has no way of knowing that they are approved by an engineer or that they are safe at the 12 feet. I thought we had additional drawings that were submitted in relation to the application for the 12 feet and the 7 feet. And if not, can we get those for the town to show that an engineer has indicated that the pilings as installed are safe and they are not a health hazard?
Yeah, so.
That's the part you missed.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. I apologize. So I know with certainty, the original application was obviously approved by the third parties, by DEP and the like. And I also know the 7 feet was as well. I do not know off of hand, Mr. Ramos, is when we submitted for that 12-foot height, if that too was reviewed and approved by the DEP and Army Corps.
Well, I'm not aware on my end because I haven't received a building permit application yet to review because it never got through the planning board.
Understood.
If you do have drawings for 7 feet, that's great. But since you're unwilling to cut them to 7 feet, then that really is, I guess, would be a moot point. And the only thing that I'm going to review will be whatever's submitted under a building permit application. That's the only thing that I could accept.
I completely understand. And as I previously mentioned, We are more than happy to cut it to 9. They just need a little bit of room when they come in to finalize, assuming that they can, if we do in fact win our appeal with the circuit court. So again, we are willing to come down to 9 if that would be the will of the board.
Okay, so just to clarify here, we have what do we call them? The people in front of us, the violator.
Offender.
The
Respond.
offender. You're willing to cut it down to 9 feet, the pylons. We have the town of Highland Beach is saying that 7 would be okay. Is that, or?
The town would not even consider staying it unless they agreed to the 7. I mean, we never, I'd have to talk to the manager and we'd have to decide that, but they were never willing to go down to the 7.
The town is willing to let them keep the pylons if they cut it down to 7, though? Is that?
The town would consider staying the proceeding, agreeing to stay the proceeding if they cut it down to 7.
Okay, and they're saying 9.
And they're saying 9 because I guess margin of error, I don't know, if I'm summarizing correctly.
I said 8.
8 could work. Ellie, does 8 work?
Baby. I don't know. I'm just.
It's gonna work.
At this time, does
I'm sorry, what was that? Yes or no on 8, Ellie?
Yes.
Oh, that was a yes on 8.
From what I understand, the finalizing of the lift is that you construct the beams that actually hold the boat, and then you put the motors on top of these pilings. And so I think that's why they want to make sure that when they eventually go to do that, that they are going to be able to lift this boat up out of the water by a foot. Because if they don't, then it seems like everything is kind of for naught, right? You got to pull these things out and put them back in again.
what's your anticipation of the response from the circuit court?
On the
Len, what do you
motion,
think?
are you talking about the motion to stay, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I haven't, the town has not filed its response yet. Anticipate it'll be filed this week. And then you never know at the appellate division because they operate, I don't know, a month might be sooner, but it could be a month. It could be, who knows? It could be 2 weeks, could be a month.
Well, typically, how long is it? What does it average?
I haven't done a motion for stay. Like the actual petition probably won't be resolved for at least 6 months because it takes them forever to decide the cases. They might be a little more expeditious on the motions, hopefully. But I really can't say how long.
So this could go on for another 6 months and we could have a hazard here.
It could. I mean, well, yeah, it could go on for 6 months. I mean, that's not unrealistic, I don't believe. Mr. Weirs can correct me if he thinks I'm wrong, but I've done many petitions for cert and it's at least 6 months.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that Len is probably right about that. It does take a while and sometimes it takes a long time. I do think, Ellie, is there a way to get some engineering diagrams to the town for the 8 or 9 feet so that they can have comfort that it's not a safety concern? I would imagine.
My understanding, the other board has to approve it before we can do anything.
Well, we're just talking about the stay at this point. I mean, this is not going to regulate the final height of the pilings. I mean, that's not within this board's purview. This board can just decide whether it wishes to stay the proceedings, the code enforcement proceedings, and under what circumstances.
I have to ask a question here.
Yes.
The boat we put into here is supposed to be lifted 1 foot above the height of the seawall, keel. What's the height of the boat? Because that piling's supposed to be at the maximum height of the boat, right? Is that boat 7 foot tall?
They
9
have,
foot tall?
I think I could answer that better than having watched the proceedings. I'm going to exclude myself from any further discussion, but to the best of my knowledge, the boat has not been determined yet.
Well, I mean, are you recusing yourself, Mr. Resnick?
I reclused myself before.
Okay, so now you're recusing yourself from this case now. Okay.
I feel like I have to, but I also have to state what I have seen and what I've heard. I've paid.
Okay, well, but if you recuse yourself, you should not participate any longer. If you've now realized that you believe you do have a conflict, then you should not participate any further.
And I appear as a witness.
No, sir, you cannot participate in the proceedings. But you're not, I mean, the town hasn't called any witnesses on this.
If I may, the boat has been chosen. It was actually part of the file that was submitted to the planning board. I'm just looking for a picture of it. I'm not a boater. I apologize. I want to say it's about 12 or 13 feet tall, but let me look and see what I can find if you just give me a moment.
And if I remember correctly, he hadn't actually purchased the boat. It was discussed.
Right, but he had picked his boat. So
Okay.
it was a matter of, and I think it was in the expert's opinion as well.
We're probably getting a little more technical here than we need to get for this discrete issue.
I agree.
This is more the planning board's issue.
Yeah, does the board have any more questions of the staff or of the offender's attorneys or any other issues on this item?
So
There being none, then the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to approve with conditions, or a motion to deny the violation?
Well, it would be a motion to either, well, I think the board needs to rule on the motion. I mean, the respondent has moved for a stay. I think you need to rule on that first. And if there is a stay, then we don't have to get to the second part.
All right, explain that to us, what the stay is.
So, all right, so what they've moved for is to stay this proceeding pending the circuit court's resolution. They filed a motion with the Circuit Court Appellate Division to stay any further proceedings before the town. So what they are asking this board is to stay this enforcement proceeding until the circuit court rules on that motion.
Which could be 6 months.
No, that would probably not be 6 months. I was talking about the entire petition. That would probably be, it could be a couple of weeks. We just don't know.
Well, then maybe table this for 30 days and come back in a month.
If that's the board's wish, you may do that.
Is there a motion to do so?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Well, wait, what is the motion?
The motion is to table this for 30 days and address it again in 30 days.
Well, so you're essentially giving them a stay of 30 days.
Yes.
That's going to happen in 30 days. All right.
Well,
This court proceeding is going to be.
This isn't the appeal, the appeal.
Yeah, Mr. Schlam, the circuit court will likely rule on the motion to stay within that 30 days, and then they may or may not, but that's the purpose is, I guess, I don't want to put anyone's intent, ascribe any intent that's not meant, but I believe the purpose is to allow the circuit court to rule on the motion to stay.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second. Is there any discussion to table this motion, this affair for 30 days? There being no discussion at this time, will the deputy town clerk call the roll on the motion to table this hearing?
Member Pearlman,
Yes.
Member Cherubini,
Yes.
Member Perlow,
Yes.
Member Slam,
Yes.
Chairperson Burnage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
See you in 30 days.
See you in 30 days.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe. Have a great afternoon.
Will the deputy town clerk please read the announcements that the town has?
Yes, one moment. Okay, the announcements is January 14th at 1 p.m. The planning board has a meeting. January 18th, town hall is closed in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. January 19th at 9:30 a.m. Town Commission meeting. January 28th at 1:30 p.m. there's a financial advisory board meeting, and that concludes the announcement.
Beverly, I believe planning board was canceled for Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. You're correct, Lynn. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I didn't want there to be anyone showing up.
At this time, is there there being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The opposed, nay. The ayes have it, meeting adjourned. Thank you very